What are some of the most common money belief that people have that are holding them back?
I need to work hard for money. That's a big one. Money doesn't grow on trees, which funny enough, it's kind of, well, before it was digital, right? It was made from trees, right? But we hear these beliefs, we hear these things said from a very young age. Most of the time before the age of 7, 95% of our beliefs are before the age of 7. So we don't even remember when they were created. It gets even more interesting when we realize that some of them were even before we were born. Just like we're getting nutrients and all this stuff from being in our mother's belly, she's hearing a belief, she's feeling an emotion, and we also experience that emotion as well. Back to the question of money beliefs, if at some point one of your parents was either told or said, it's so hard to make money, everything's expensive, right? We have to be careful with making too much money. We don't want to be seen a certain way. Or people with money are greedy. They're not spiritual. If someone has a fear that if they don't know what to do with the money. So if I make all this money, what if I lose it all? These are all examples of money beliefs and blocks that more than likely, if you're listening to this right now, you likely have one or more of those. The crazy thing is, from my perspective, is if you have just one of those, it can totally derail your goals and ultimately your life. So there's an example one of my mentors gave me that is if you're taking a flight from, we're here in Tampa, let's say to California, and the pilot is just 1% off course, he could be hundreds of miles away from the destination. So let's say you're going to San Diego, you land in Mexico instead. Right? I'm half Mexican. I love Mexico. So, right. And that'd be fine with me. I'm like, cool, we're in Mexico, right? Let's go. But the fact of the matter is that wasn't the goal. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the goal. Just 1% off, we're totally off course from the goal. If you have just one belief that isn't in alignment with your goal and it derails you, you don't hit your goal, right? So 1%, if you're not 100% in alignment, it equals 100% self-sabotage.
Wow.
Yeah. So anything less than 100% alignment equals 100% self-sabotage. And so when I learned this myself, I was like, I need to figure out all the limiting beliefs, all the false identities, all the thought patterns that aren't mine to begin with. I need to figure out all of these as quickly as possible and get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Because if that belief that I shared earlier about the authority figures held me back for my entire life, and ever since I got rid of that, I've been able to progress faster than ever. I'm like, what else don't I know that's going on in here that I have to get rid of that's holding me back in some way?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say all this to scare you or be like, you've got to take care of it. Like, yeah, I do believe that. But I think that so many of us, we were talking about this earlier, right? Into shiny object syndrome, into, this shiny thing and this new strategy and this new tactic and this new thing that we can do. And it ends up overwhelming us. And, months go by and we're like, man, I'm not any further than I was a year ago. Maybe a little bit, but it was kind of, we were being pulled in all these different directions. Every single time that I've tried to find an external thing to fix my life or make my life better, it always comes back to what was going on in here.
Yeah.
And the beliefs that I had about myself, other people, and the world around me. So it's like a foundation, right? A lot of people, when they're thinking about their future, they're designing their master bedroom. They've got the chandelier coming down, right? They've got the nice dressers, a big TV, and that's all great. But if you don't have the foundation, right? The foundation of the home, that's everything.
Yeah. When the next big storm comes, everything is going to crumble.
Everything is crumbling. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the analogy is all the shiny stuff is all the shiny objects that we're shooting for, right? The strategies, the tactics, that's the nice designer, clothes or home. But again, if you don't have the foundation, which is boring, right? It's concrete. You don't do anything with it, but that's our mind is the foundation.
Yeah.
And then when you have a strong foundation, you can build up from there.
That's so fire. Fire, fire, fire. That's so fire, baby. That's so fire. Fire. That's so fire.